What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Ultravox, and we're back with more from the 1981 mini LP EP, which I believe is also called Ultravox, and which features material from before the singer switch, from when John Foxx was still the singer, even though it was released after. And the tune we're going to listen to is actually one of the studio recordings on this release, and apparently the track came out in 1977, and it's called The Man Who Dies Every Day. I enjoy that. There's a poetry to it. It makes me think of Groundhog Day, or perhaps a bit more literary of a reference. It makes me think, or mythological. It makes me think of something or someone like Sisyphus, who just has this daily struggle that is inescapable and is sort of a grueling ordeal, though fair to say, there are philosophers who talk about at least he has something to do, whereas there are other people in mythological stories who are in much worse and more undesirable conditions. Nevertheless, that's what it makes me think about. Someone who maybe goes through a psycho-emotional death or a socially humiliating death every day, and because of their situation or condition, they can't get out of that loop. So, curious to hear on what level and how metaphorical or figurative it is. One can imagine it's not literal, as if biological creatures, once you're dead, you're dead. So, yeah, curious what it'll be. Let's find out. This is Ultravox. The tune is The Man Who Dies Every Day, and it's originally from 77 on a release, or I guess an album. Yeah, I guess it's an album. It's Ha 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 from 77, but we hear it here as part of this mini LP EP from 81.
In the rain, a silhouette, a cigarette, and a gesture of disdain. I felt a dark door open, saw a hungry ghost come through. A spark left from my fingertip, and I knew it must be you. And you, the man who dies every day. Ain't you the man who dies every day? Yes, you're that man. Saw you leave. You left the ashes of your life on everybody's sleeve. You always play that funny back of cards without an ace, and every street you ever walked is marked out on your face, 'cause you're the man who dies every day. Yes, you're the man.
There's always so many lyrics in this track. There's a lot going on.
Yes, you're that man. Behind your lonely shoulders, you never showed on photographs, and you never grew much older. You flicker like a shaky shadow, moving like a thief. You never drop your facade, and you never seek relief, 'cause you're the man who dies every day. Yes, you're the man who dies every day. Yes, you're that man.
logs that seem to indicate, and maybe the Ultravox like release that's just called Ultravox is different from the like EP that I'm going through, even though it seems to be the same tracks, because it's all the tracks that I've gone through, and then this one as well. But yeah, that did seem to be live, and I thought this was one of the ones that was a studio track. Either way, again, it's like the closest I've heard them sound to Tubeway Army. Like, it has this post-punk feel, but there's a electrical atmosphere beyond what you would normally mean when you say post-punk. So again, like thinking about Foxx and Newman and the sort of evolution of some of these groups and the the lead in these projects into more formal like synth pop and synth rock and that sort of the evolution of that sound, late 70s to early 80s. I am thinking about it, so like this one more than any other that I've heard, even on this mini LP EP. This one reminded me of Tubeway Army a bit. So yeah, cool tune. Again, it seems like when Foxx writes lyrics, there's just so much going on. So I'm not quite sure exactly what's happening in the song. Again, I heard some bits and pieces here and there, but it seemed like there was a lot of moving parts, so I will have to listen to it again. But sonically, I enjoyed it. Like I said, it had a bit of a gritty or like raw post-punk feel. Maybe not even gritty. It was a bit just like more raw and kind of that late 70s punk / post-punk, loud sort of vibe to it. But it also had, again, some electrical nuance and depth that had me thinking about another group that is very much in that transitional vein, which people have talked about to me, how Tubeway Army was basically the vehicle that led Newman to his own solo projects, which are more famous for having that early synth work and so on. Nevertheless, I'll shut up and we will wait for the next one. Again, I'm not sure now whether the next tune actually will be a studio track or whether there will be an audience in this one as well. So I think there's just one more left, and then we'll be on to the next album. People have asked about going back and more formally going through the early Ultravox stuff. I'd like to do that too, but we started with Vienna, and generally speaking in these deep dives I'm going forward in time, so I don't know, we can do what everyone wishes. If people think it'd be better to go back now and do earlier Ultravox, we could do that, but either way, I enjoyed Vienna a lot, so I was excited to hear more of that sound, but I didn't know then that the earlier Ultravox had such a notably different or distinct sonic palette. So either way, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think would be the best to do. Once again, shout out to Philip for sharing this, as well as Han Solo, who put me onto Ultravox to begin with. And yeah, let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.